All right. Good evening. I apologize. I didn't have the volume. I had the mute button on. Once again, I apologize for the delay. I was talking to the insurance adjuster yesterday while we were having family dinner. Someone door hit our BMW, and so we're trying to get that taken care of. And so that caused me to be a little late getting on. So please forgive me. I pray that you'd have a great day. It's a windy day out here in the desert. The weather is finally changing. I can finally put on my swamp cooler as opposed to utilizing the AC, which has been running all summer long. Good evening, Tamika. Good evening, Troy. Good evening, Daisy. Yes, we have. This is the first year that we've actually had to run our swamp cooler. I'm sorry, our AC all summer long. I don't think it was, but maybe 1 or 2 days earlier on that we had the swamp cooler on, and today is the first day that I've been able to run it all day because the weather is finally changing. It's becoming windier. We're out of the triple digits. It's a shame when you say 90 degrees is is something to be excited about. But it's 90 degrees is a way better than the 115 and 100 and some degrees we've been having uh, so far. So I thank God that the weather is changing. They're looking like they're going to look like it might start snowing back up in the mountains, but they're looking like that there may be some more rain coming our way. Not that we need any more rain down here, because I think that we've soaked up enough water down in 29 palms to last us a lifetime. I'm sure I'm figuratively speaking, but it has been that kind of a year here in the desert, a peculiar, unusual rainy year, and to the facts of flooding, and even with such winds, with such force, blowing our tiles off the roof and our storms gutter down. So it has been an experience, but God. So I mean, I'm not complaining because God is good. It had everything insured, so that there's no issue, even with the car being hit on yesterday by someone else as it was parked in the parking lot. We don't have to worry about their insurance; will take care of that, and we're all healthy and we're able to drive home. So there's no problem with that. So I thank God for what He's doing, even in the midst of all of this. I posted something today about the past hurts and things. It kept you to see a clear vision. One of the things I'm learning, I'm going to get back to my topic at hand, which is the power of taming the tongue, the weight of our words, part two. But one of the things I'm learning in this season is that there are a lot of things that are happening or may happen, but I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you do not allow what's happening to make it happen in your, so maybe happening in your life or around your life, to cause you to lose your joy, your trust, your faith, and your belief in God. Because the enemy, I believe, in this season is seriously trying to discourage us, trying to get us to think that things are not going to happen, to try to get us to think that we are always going to be this way, we're never going to get out of this. But I truly believe that if we hold on to God's unchanging hand, that we are going to see some extraordinary events happening in our lives for the good. I think God is taking all the things that were meant for evil and He's truly turning them around for our good. So I just ask you to just hold on to God's hand, trust in God, and understand that these things may come, but they shall pass. There's been so many things that we had a testimony in August of how much God was doing, and then the testimonies even continuing on in the month of September. And even in the midst of that, people have been having health challenges and things that they didn't think they would have to deal with. But I'm telling you that regardless of what you're going through right now, that God is with you and you're going to make it. It's just it's a light affliction that you're going to go through, but it's a witness to the testimony of how strong you are in God. that you're able to go through things and people don't even know that you don't look like what you've been through. It's kind of like the three Hebrew boys. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I need to say this to somebody. It's kind of like the three Hebrew boys. They were put in a fire, in a furnace that was heated up 7 times hotter than it normally would. And in that event, even with them throwing them, the people who threw them in the fire burned up, throwing them in the fire. They were thrown in a fire that should have immediately caused them to be incinerated, immediately caused them to be burned up right away. However, when they were in the fire, in the midst of the fire, there when King Nebuchadnezzar rather looked inside, he said, "Did we not throw three? But now I see four." And he said, "It looks like the Son of God." And the thing that I want you to understand, and I want you to know right now, that you may be feeling like somebody threw you in a fire that's 7 times hotter than it was supposed to be. But I want you to hear me and hear me by the Spirit. God was already in it, and God is already in the midst of that fire before you got in there to make sure that you would survive while you were in it. Did you hear what I just said? God was already in the midst of the fire so that when you got in the midst of the fire, you would be surrounded and saved and be able to go through that fire and come out not even smelling like smoke. In other words, you're going to come out and not look like what you've been through. When people understand the things that you have been through, when you tell your story of how you made it over, when you tell your story of how God blessed you and kept you through all the things that you've been through the hell that you've been through all the hurt you've been through the pain, through the discouragement that you've been through, and yet you still held on, and yet you still had joy, and yet you still carried out the kingdom purpose in your life. That is a testimony that we're going to need in this coming season, because people have to know more than just the words that people say. They need to see a life that is lived knowing and trusting God. They need to have uh, that that testimony of what you're going through, that you are going through. I love the 23rd Psalms. It says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow." Oh, did you hear me? Shadow. Oh, help me. I'm trying to get to my thing, but I need to say this. "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." Yea, though I walk through, I'm not camping out. I'm not putting down a tent. I am going through. I will fear. It's the shadow. A shadow is not the real thing. Did you hear me? A shadow is the shadow of something that is away. It is not the actual thing. So you're walking through the shadow of sickness. You're walking through the shadow of financial lack. You're walking through the shadow of relationship issues. You're walking through the shadow of your children not acting right. You're walking through the shadows of your family members not coming to Christ. You're walking through the shadows of all these things that are coming against you, but it is only a shadow. A shadow cannot hurt you. It just makes itself bigger, and it's just a reflection, but it is not the real thing. So when you see a shadow, the shadow can't bite you. The shadow can't hurt you. It's just a reflection to make it bigger than it really is, so that you will become fearful. But I'm speaking to somebody on today. I need you to just understand that you need to fear no evil, for God is with you. I need somebody to type that on the screen so it can be seen. Type it up so it can be swiped up, that God is with me. Yes, that's what it is. I need you need to hear that on today, because somebody needs to know. Somebody wants to give up. Somebody thinking that, why me, God? Why is all this always happening to me? I need you to know that God is with you. Come on, somebody. God is with me. I need to confess. We're talking about the power. We're talking about taming the tongue and the weight of our words. We need to understand that there is, as I move into this, there is the power of our speech. This is running right into the power of our speech. Because when you look at James 3 and 5, it says, "If we put a bit into the mouth of horses to make them obey us, we guide their whole body, or like a ship though they are small, large, it takes strong winds to drive them, yet they are guided by a very small rudder. Wherever the will of the pilot directs, so also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts great exploit. How great a fire is set ablaze by a small tongue. So James begins to this section with the vivid illustration from the world of horsemanship. His picture of a powerful stallion rather, muscles rippling, hooves thundering across the ground. This magnificent creature weighing over thousands of pounds, possessing incredible strength, yet with a small bit in its mouth, a rider can control its every movement. Can I take a parenthetical pause here for a moment? And I need you to understand that you have power in your speech. We're in this context, we're talking about the negativity, about taming it, but I want you to move over for a moment and talk about the positiveness of speaking, of the power of your tongue, and how you can move something that may be 1,000 pounds, how you can move something that may appear to have incredible strength, but your tongue, this little member that you have, you are going to be able to control the movements of your life, or the things that are coming against you. You're going to be able to move those movements by the power of your speech. I need somebody to start right now, to start changing the way you speak. You need to start changing the way you speak. I was talking to my therapist this morning, and as we was talking, she said, "I hear you keep saying." We was talking about some things that I was as dealing with something, and she was, "I hear you say I can't. It's hard to." So when I started hearing, I'm like, man, the words that she's saying are the words that are coming out of my mouth. So I'm already projecting what I'm saying. I'm saying I can't, but I can. Ah, I need you. I wish I had some help. We got to start changing how we speak. So in this season, I need us to change our speech. Let me get back to my context. I had to drop that off right real quick. I don't know who that package was for, but I need you to pick it up because it was especially delivered. That was FedEx to you, to know that you need to change how you say about things. Your power of speech is what's been getting you in trouble. You've been saying things with power, but you've been saying the wrong thing. You've been saying powerful words, but you've been saying the wrong words, which is consequently getting you the wrong results. You need to change how you speak. So when we look at that, we have to now imagine. So this image that we just talked about powerfully conveys the disproportionate influence of the tongue. Yet, as this tiny bit can direct the entire horse, our words, though seemingly small, can guide the course of our lives and impact those around us. We have to be careful of what we say and how we say. And even when we're not speaking to people, people hearing it, it's impacting what they hear. Please hear me by the word of the Spirit that we have to be careful how we speak to people. I'm learning this even more so now than I ever did before, because people hang on your words sometimes. You have to be careful. Can't be always fussing at people. You can't be always complaining to people. You can't be always talking about people. You can't be always complaining about everything around you. You can't be always complaining about your job. You can't be always complaining about your work people. You got to start. You have to start watching and controlling what you say, because it's the guiding the course of your life, and it's impacting people around you. Consider how a few words of encouragement can motivate somebody to preserve them through challenges, or how a timely piece of advice can help a friend make a life-changing decision. We have to look at the words that we say, because we can give a few encouraging words that can motivate somebody. I say this before, and it bears repeating. When I was in school, I was that problem child. I was so bad in school, and particularly in elementary school, even into junior high. got worse in junior high. Even though I was a good athlete, I did great things from the sport aspect of it. I was sit in seat X in homeroom. I couldn't sit with everybody else because I caused so much trouble, and because when you're insecure, you want to people to like you, so you do stuff to draw attention to yourself. So when I got to high school, because I was bused in high school, I was bused to a predominantly, well, it was actually an all white school. I got bused to a school, and I continued my same adage. I continued acting the same way, even with different different cultures in the classroom. I still acted the same way until my homeroom teacher said something to me that changed me from being at the bottom of my graduating class to graduating at the top 10% of my class. She said to me, "You have great potential. Why do you act like that?" Oh, did you hear what I'm saying? You have great potential. So why are you acting like that? That changed the course and the direction of my life as it related to high school. From that moment on, I stopped being the clown in the class and I started doing the studying and doing my work and start paying attention and start being an example and start being a leader rather than a follower. From that moment on, that flipped the chart for me. That changed my life. And you can do the same thing when you can motivate somebody, give somebody some encouraging words, and know that the thoughts that you have to talk about and the bits that this horse. So what do you say to people? Do you always telling them what they can't do and what they're not? I grew up listening to that. You're never going to be any good. And I followed those words through my adult life because I can thought to myself, brother, that I would never amount to anything because it was what it was said to me. So we got to be careful. Then on the flip side, a harsh word can crush someone's spirit. Like I just said, hey, you'll never amount to any good. A thoughtless comment can damage a relationship. You just like this. You remind me of, you act just like my ex-boyfriend, or you act like my, all of those things. That the bit is the bit in the horse's mouth, rather, is powerful because of its size, but not because of its size, rather, but because of its strategic placement. Ooh, did you hear that? The bit in the horse's mouth isn't powerful because of the size, because it's only about like that, but it's where it's placed that makes it a problem. Similarly, our words derive the power not from their volume or quantity, but from their ability to touch hearts, to shape thoughts and influences. So our words derive power not from the volume of our words or the quantity of our words, but it's the ability of the words that we spoke to touch somebody's heart. It can shape somebody's thoughts and it can influence somebody's actions. I'm hope I'm helping somebody today. James then shifts our attention from land to sea. Imagine a massive ship, he says, buffeted by strong winds and rugged waves, despite its imposing size and powerful forces acting against it. This enormous vessel is steered by a comparatively tiny rudder. And I know we're looking back then, but let's look like those cruise ships that let me finish this, then I'll get back. The illustration emphasizes not just the power of our speech, but also its ability to set directions. Now, let me go back about the rudder. On cruise ships, they're making them huge now. I mean, they're making them bigger than the Titanic. They are like so many thousands of tons, gross ton ships. I mean, they are huge. They're getting ready to put out one now called the Star of the Seas, which is going to be the largest ship in the world. It's just crazy what it's going to look like. But if you go under the ship and you look down, there are probably 4 rudders, probably 2 in the front, 2 in the back. But they're not huge as the ship. They're, in comparison to the size of the ship, they're not big. But they are the ones that moves the ship through the water. And when they get ready to dock, they're the ones that causes the ship to go be able to dock, but it's not as big as the ship, but it's in position. The where it is positioned causes it to control the ship. And our words, like the ship rudder, can steer the course of our relationships, our work, or even our society. A leader's vision accurately a leader's vision articulated in words can guide an entire organization. A nation's destiny can be altered by the speeches of its representatives. You need to hear me. I know you can see that even on today in the election things. And I'm not talking about one side or the other. I'm talking about the rhetoric around all of the talks that is going on. But this analogy only hints at the intention behind our speech. The rudder moves wherever the will of the pilot directs. This reminds us that our words don't just happen. They are a product of our will, our intention, and our character. Push, pause, rewind, play. The rudder moves wherever the will of the pilot directs. So the rudder, when the captain is up in the top of the ship and he moves the rudder, it doesn't move by itself. It moves where the pilot directs it. So this reminds us, and I need you to hear me, that our words don't just happen. Our words don't just happen. They are a product of our will, our intention, and our character. Just as a skilled pilot can navigate treacherous waters with a well-controlled rudder, we too can navigate life's complexity with carefully chosen words. I'm going to have to end up on this, and I have to pick this up again next. But I need to go back to this again because I need for us to understand that that what is the intention behind your speech? What is the intention behind your words? What are you hoping to accomplish by the words you speak? So while the rudder can't move by itself, it's only directed by the pilot. Your tongue cannot move unless you direct it to say what you're directing it to say. My tongue is moving. The words are coming out of my mouth because I'm directing these words to come out. If I did not direct what is coming out of my mouth, there would be nothing coming out of my mouth. If I open up my mouth and did not just do, nothing comes out. I have to intentionally direct and put the words into action of what I want to say next. So I have to understand that the words that I speak are a product of my will. I will to say those things to people. It's my intention to say those things, and it's a part of my character to say those things. So I ask you, what is your will, your intention, and your character when you say words? Are you trying to navigate through, when you're trying to navigate through the treacherous situations, are you doing it under well-controlled rudder tongue, or you just doing a willy-nilly navigation? Sometimes we have to think before we speak. We have to ask ourselves this question, and I'm over my time. I'm all out of minutes, but not out of message. But let me just end with this. You need to start thinking or think before you speak. What are you saying, Bishop? I need to know, is what I'm about to say true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? I'm going to say that again. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? I need to make sure of that, because that will help me from not saying things that I don't need to say. Well, like I said, I'm all out of minutes, but not out of message. I'm going to pick up next Monday. We're going to talk about we're going to conclude this trio as we talk about the forest set ablaze by a small fire. We're going to pick up on that. But I pray that you hear, and I forgot to say it in the beginning, please share it. This is, I'm telling you, I think this is. I thought last month was great, and it was, but I think this month is just as equally as important. So please share, so that people can get this in their life. Thank you for being on. I'm seeing OJ, Daisy. I'm seeing. Let me go down. Pastor May, Deacon Cheryl, Wanda. Thank you, Wanda from Texas. Kim, Reed. Thank you for being on. Tammy, thank you for being on. Danielle, thank you for being on. Troy, thank you for being on. Let me see. Rachel, thank you for being on. And I think that's all that. Well, Tamika, thank you for being on. Those are the ones that I can see. If I didn't see your name, please don't take offense. I'm just reading on the ones that I can see, and this is off of the sanctuary page, as well as looking at what's on my on the StreamYard page as well. So I thank you for your time. I pray that you have been blessed. And as always, may the Lord keep you. May the Lord bless you. That is my prayer. We, at the place where I preach the most, the Sanctuary Church, we're a church that we love God, we love people, and we give hope. And the other thing is, we're in a season of building, evangelizing, and equipping. So grace and peace be multiplied to you. Love you dearly. Be blessed, my people of God.